28 years. That's how long Eiichiro Oda has been telling the story of One Piece, over 1,100 chapters. And somehow, we're still asking the same question. What is Oda hiding? Because despite everything we've learned, the biggest secrets of this world are still locked away. We still don't know what the One Piece actually is. We still have no idea what happened during the Void Century. We still can't explain why Blackbeard can break the one rule every Devil Fruit user is supposed to follow. And then, there are the mysteries that almost seem too strange to be real. A giant straw hat hidden beneath the Holy Land. A pirate named Davy Jones, who may have shaped piracy itself. A man named Joy Boy, whose influence has somehow survived 800 years. And one single letter, D. A letter powerful enough to make the rulers of the world panic. The craziest part? None of these mysteries exist on their own. They're all connected. Let's start with the question that started everything. The One Piece. Now, before anyone says it, no, it's not friendship. Whitebeard thankfully settled that debate years ago when he looked directly at the world and confirmed that the One Piece is real. It's a physical treasure. Roger found it. He saw it with his own eyes. So why didn't he use it?
Think about that for a second. Roger reached the island that nobody else could find. He discovered the greatest treasure in history, and then he laughed. He named the island Laugh Tale, turned his ship around, and willingly surrendered himself to the Marines. That's such a bizarre sequence of events that fans sometimes forget how strange it actually is.
That doesn't sound like someone who failed. It sounds like someone who understood something. The only clue Roger ever left behind came through Odin's journal. We were too early, which means the One Piece isn't just something you find. Maybe Roger couldn't claim the treasure because the world wasn't ready yet. Maybe someone else still had to be born, someone capable of finishing what another man had started centuries before. Because if there's one name that keeps appearing whenever the One Piece is mentioned, it's Joy Boy. Roger wished he could have lived in Joy Boy's era. Zunisha believed Joy Boy had returned. Even Vegapunk couldn't stop talking about him once he uncovered pieces of the ancient past. How can one man who lived 800 years ago still influence every major event happening today? The One Piece was never Roger's treasure to begin with. Maybe it was Joy Boy's, waiting for the one person capable of inheriting his will. And if that's true, then Roger wasn't the end of the story. He was simply the man who passed the torch to the next generation.
But that raises an even bigger question. If Joy Boy left behind the world's greatest treasure, why does almost nobody remember who he even was? That's because somewhere in history, there's an entire century that simply doesn't exist. 100 years that somebody wanted erased so badly, they've spent the last 8 centuries killing anyone who gets too close to the truth. If the Void Century were just another forgotten period of history, the world government wouldn't care. The Void Century wasn't forgotten, it was erased. Someone deliberately ripped 100 years out of history and then made learning about them one of the worst crimes imaginable. Think about O'Hara.
An entire island wiped off the map because a handful of historians got a little too curious. The government isn't afraid of pirates. It's afraid of information, because information changes people, and history changes the future. Professor Clover came closer than anyone else to uncovering that truth.
After years of studying the poneglyphs, Clover discovered the existence of an ancient kingdom, A civilization so advanced that even Vegapunk admits modern science hasn't caught up to it. The smartest scientist alive isn't inventing new technology. He's reverse engineering technology from 800 years ago.
Usually, civilizations become more advanced over time.
The ancient world was somehow ahead of the present. So what happened?
One answer: war. A war so devastating that it reshaped the entire world.
And according to the fragments we've gathered, 20 kingdoms united against that ancient kingdom. Those same kingdoms eventually became the world government, meaning the people who write history might also be the people who destroyed it.
That's what makes the empty throne so ironic. It's presented as a symbol that no one rules the world, no supreme authority. Everyone is supposedly equal, except we know that's a lie, because sitting in the shadows is Imu.
Now, one of the strangest names Oda has ever mentioned is Davy Jones. Most fans remember him only because of the Davy back fight with Foxy, but that game wasn't created out of nowhere. According to pirate legend, it was named after a pirate called Davy. The interesting part is that Oda almost never introduces a historical name without giving it a bigger purpose later. In real-world folklore, Davy Jones rules the depths of the sea, but in One Piece, we still don't know if he was just a legendary pirate or someone who actually shaped the world's history. Could he have been one of the first pirates? The man who inspired pirate traditions? Or someone connected to the ancient kingdom itself? After all these years, Oda has barely touched the mystery, which only makes it feel more important.
Now let's talk about something as interesting. Devil fruits are the source of almost every incredible power in One Piece, yet we still have no idea where they actually came from. Vegapunk believes they were born from humanity's hopes and desires, physical manifestations of dreams that people wished could become reality. But if that's true, who created the first one? Why does the sea reject their users? And why do some fruits, like Luffy's, seem to have a will of their own? If the origin of devil fruits is connected to the ancient kingdom, then learning where they came from could completely change everything we know about the One Piece world.
Next, hidden beneath Mary Jouai's is one of the most unsettling images in the entire series. A giant straw hat locked inside a frozen chamber. We don't know who wore it, why it's being preserved, or why Imu personally visits it. Many fans believe it once belonged to Joy Boy, making Luffy's hat part of a legacy that's been passed down for over 800 years. Others think it belonged to a giant or even an unknown race from the Void Century. Whatever the truth is, Oda didn't show us that hat by accident. In One Piece, every object has a story, and this one could be the key to understanding the entire history of the world.
See ya.